Hey everybody, welcome again to eChannel News. We've got Denis Villeneuve. He is the cyber resilience and connectivity practice leader at Kyndryl. And I want to talk a bit about what's going on in the world of cybersecurity. Because as everybody's seen, there's some recent news about different things going on. The question is, what do we do? Panic, relax, stay calm, and carry on? We're here to get some good advice from Denis. Denis, welcome, man. How are you doing?
Great, Julian. Thanks for having me again.
All right. Well, let's just jump right into this. So we've saw Mythos, we saw some issues, the recent RSA. Everybody apparently is a AI god, and AI is running the world. Apparently, 75% of the GDP of the United States is apparently AI, and we're worried about electricity. We don't have enough power to power these things. Yada yada yada. We've all seen the news. How do we bring this down into the world of cyber? What's your take?
From the world of cyber, with all things, fundamentally, the fundamentals are the same. Like, if I can say that. We've been through these type of moments before. From an AI perspective, it's more in the recent weeks. It's around the frontier AI models that have been released. You've got multiple models that are coming to bear, and it's a question of looking at your fundamentals, understanding that, patch windows have changed, patch velocity is going to change, vulnerabilities, and these models are going to be able to, do things faster than any human can, and be able to. It's not a question of like new vulnerabilities being created. It's more like being found at a faster velocity that we haven't seen before. So it's just a question of shifting a bit of our mindset and our operating models in order to respond at machine speeds as opposed to human speeds and the way that things previously existed. So I hope
Well,
that
Denis,
helps.
I'm going to
Yeah.
throw out a couple of things that I've been hearing about, and then you could say, myth or bust that myth. I don't
Sure.
know. All right. So the band actors are getting in their sub 6 minutes, and that means you've got to get in there faster, and you got to figure out before it gets, of course, it's best if you could plug that gap before. But knowing that they're getting in there faster, you got to be able to detect, figure it out, lock it down, boot them out faster, right? So speed is like the only thing that matters today. Is that right?
Yes. So the velocity is going to be coming at us faster than we had before. These models have the capability of finding vulnerabilities faster than human capabilities beforehand, or some of the best when it came to nefarious actors to be able to find and exploit activities, right? So we've seen it before, probably I think earlier on in my career, where script kiddies would figure out how to leverage and run attacks versus more sophisticated actors that take time and be able to do things much more quickly, right? So we're noticing more and more, the elevation of the script kiddie to be able to, I guess, in a lack of a better term, the script kiddie now has like frontier AI models that can find vulnerabilities faster than anything before. So that's
I think
just
the script kiddie became a script lion or
yeah.
something. I don't know. Maybe have to change the name. Look, so without a doubt, the challenge is like the recent release of Mythos about how they've figured out the vulnerabilities. It's been around forever. They've figured out they didn't want to release it. I'm not quite sure why and all that stuff, but generally they're helping companies to patch their problems. However, we all understand that once we discover these vulnerabilities and there's patch Tuesdays become really, really big,
Mhm.
we all know, right? Humans, not everybody patches this stuff, right? So let's say one of these big cyber companies decide, okay, we've figured out 20 vulnerabilities, we've patched them all. You folks got to update your system and get it going. Um, but not everybody's going to do it, right? So it gives a bit of a window
Yeah.
for the bad actors to, oh, thank you very much for identifying that. that vulnerability, we don't need to go after the ones who've been patching. We just go after the ones who, hey, too late to patch, right? What's your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
Well, there's always been a cyber poverty line in our ecosystem.
That's a great word.
And and that's the concern, right? Because you just mentioned Patch Tuesday, right? You've got 40 vendors that are in, the Project Glasswing with Mythos early preview. And it makes sense when it comes to getting these type of capabilities to hardware and software vendors so that they can get ahead of the curve. But you mentioned Patch Tuesday. So imagine, I think last Patch Tuesday you had 120, 130 some odd patches, and you got to go through the patch windows and apply patches and then test and make sure you didn't break anything when you're going live, right? So you've got one vendor with a wave of 120 right now. Imagine if it goes up to 1,000 or 1,200 or whatever it may be. It's an exponential change, step change that we need to adhere to. But that's just and then imagine 39 other vendors that are going to be pushing those type of approaches. But then you've got vendors that aren't part of it, and when you've got these type of capabilities that are going to be getting into the hands of nefarious actors, they're going to be able to exploit vulnerabilities that aren't even in those core product sets. So you've got all the open source that you need to be concerned about, and how much open source you've got in your environment, and some of that stuff's just not just doesn't have patches available to it. So these frontier AI have capabilities of one finding vulnerabilities faster than humans can find, and then exploiting them. They also have the capability of chaining vulnerabilities together from product A to product B to product C, in their own on their own. It's just it's benign, but like strung together leads to an exploit much quicker than you could have possibly thought of previously, right? So I hope that answers a little bit
Yeah.
of the question as to some of the concerns. And at the end of the day, it's about having a good, firm look at your patching process and understanding what your capabilities are today, getting ahead of the surge capacity that you need to build, and that could be from additional people. Then it's getting to automations and figuring out what you need to put into place to react faster, and then thirdly, we'll probably get into an agentic capabilities, and there's a lot of vendors out there that are looking at developing that to help people out. But ultimately, at the end of the day, with all these vendors getting access to this type of capability, they'll be able to code more securely. So it's a step change difference. But then once we get to that step change, we're going to be in a situation where our everything that we get is going to be much more secure.
Yeah. I mean, let's assume that happens and that'll be a great outcome at the end of the day. So we've got this bit of a gap, if you will, in between then and now. That poverty line really just makes a lot of sense when you really think about it. Just make sure you know where you are on that poverty line. Are you above it or below it? And you might want to rethink a whole bunch of things as we move into this storm, I guess. I mean, I don't know how bad it's going to get. The chatter we hear, right, is like, hey, it's going to be a lot of fun moving forward from the bad actors, because they see that there's not everybody's going to patch properly, and there's going to be a little bit of chaos, and in chaos is where the problems can happen, right? That said, I don't know what the latest count is, but let's say there's about 3,000 or so plus organizations that's attacking humans and companies all day long. I don't know if they have the appetite to do more than they're doing right now, but when they start to put agentic AI, they can do 1,000x, right? They can start to scale their capabilities, so they can do a lot more damage with a lot less. What are you seeing in the scale coming from the hacker side? Are they able to leverage this technologies now to be, is it 10x? Is it 100x? Is it 1,000x? Do we even know?
It's hard to speculate. But it's No, there is data that's out there for some of the capabilities that that this brings to bear. So, for example, the previous model that was released in when they leveraged it on a browser, they had 22 vulnerabilities, and then with the newer version, they found 277. So it's exponentially like capable of finding and discovering issues. You put that into the hands of, well, even every enterprise right now is trying to work out, leveraging AI to gain efficiencies in their operations, right? Um, Criminal organizations are the same. They've got HR, they've got research and development, they've got pockets,
Marketing,
marketing, they've got customer support, ransomware as a service groups,
collections group.
um, action group, all that kind of stuff. So it's not. I wouldn't be surprised if they're leveraging it in their own organizations, right? So
So the answer is we don't know, but obviously everybody's leveraging this stuff, and it's this cat and mouse guacamole game has just got a little bit maybe more speedier, faster.
yeah.
When you do your roundtables with your CISOs, what's worrying them now? Is it that being able to patch crazy Tuesdays now went from like mad Tuesdays to crazy Tuesdays to insane Tuesdays? Like how are they thinking about getting ahead of this challenge?
The first and foremost is understanding the surge. It could be, 1x, 2x, 10x, 100x. We don't know, right?
Mm.
So it's being ready for that and looking at that capability. And fundamentally, this hasn't really changed. We've been through these moments before. Like we've been through Y2K prep and get ready for that kind of stuff. And was it a big thing or was it a bad thing? We've
Mm.
been through moments with COVID and having to become online capable and continue operations in a matter of weeks, months, and years, right? And that fundamentally changed things. We went there's cycles within enterprise organizations and IT that come to us and 20 years ago 10, 20 years ago, how do we secure the cloud? How do we move over to the cloud? What does that look like? We took the fundamentals that we had before and then we just expanded it and did some experiential learning and went from there. So it's the common theme is one, collaboration is important, especially at the speed that things are changing and the cycles are changing. Two, it's having a plan and having collaborative understanding of what's working within organizations and what's not. And then it's not going to be perfect, but we'll work with what the collective community thinks is best practice and build from there and share our stories. And then being honest with board conversations around, we're in a situation where we have to work out what's hype and what's real and figure out how we're going to work towards the ultimate goal of being more resilient so to net it out, it really is how are we going to react and respond to the surge, and that's looking at our patching capabilities and our surge capabilities and improving the process that exists today. Then it's looking at it from a governance perspective of the risk calculus has changed, so we might have made decisions based on the resources we had allocated or available to us, 6 months ago. And now we got to look at it and say, are there certain projects that we need to fast track? Are there projects that we need to put on the back burner in order to harden our defenses and our response capabilities to be, responsive at the speed of AI, right? So that's sort of the general consensus I'm getting.
Stay calm and carry on, I guess is the word of the day. But you know, I just feel that this issue we're dealing with right now is very different from the other previous issues that we've had in the past, like from Y2K or internet and cloud and even COVID, in that it's like we're giving superpowers to a whole whack load of people out there who've got nothing better to do than to use it against the world, right?
Mhm.
And we've seen the change in that we went ransomware. At least they're looking for money. which is kind of cool. Bad, but at least we know what their motivations are. But now with the turmoils of the world wars and all that stuff, it just seems like seek and destroy. It's like just wreck it, and that's becoming a challenge, because if it's just wreck it, right, then I don't even know what the fallout damage of that is, because we don't have a way to negotiate diplomatically with people to say, okay, if I send it whatever that is, right, how do you resolve these issues? Um, do you feel that it's a little bit different though? The sense of urgency now is a little bit heightened, or is it the same? It's just another day.
Um, there's only so many time, there's only so much time in the day, resources to your availability, and you've
Yeah,
basically got to make decisions based on the data that you have access to at that time.
yeah,
So the innovation cycles are getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and it's just leveraging our experience from those situations or change those situations that we faced in the past, and then learning from
yeah.
that, and then responding.
As a human, yeah. What do you so I mean, obviously, right? The only well, I don't know what the only is, right? But it just seems to me that the way forward is to spin up these agentic AIs, these digital twins, right? Hand over some superpowers to them, have them go look for stuff. I don't even know how that works. I don't know if they're gonna look, man. In my world, I'm thinking we create these agents to defend us, and the bad actors agents find a way to make friends with our agents, right, and release the stuff, right, and do bad things. What's your thoughts on how we're going to leverage agentic AI to sort of push this this wave back?
It really is around becoming more efficient and learning to leverage it. You're seeing a lot of things come up with like, co-working and figuring out how to be more effective in your own business and how much you can do. So how do you incorporate, agentic AI into your organizations and into your work efforts? Let it be like an L1, L2, L3 analyst or SOC operations. How do you have one analyst with multiple agents below you doing certain things from exploit reviews or threat intelligence gathering or whatever it may be, surrounding yourself with a team of capabilities. That is obviously an area that we're moving into, like just as individuals and understanding that you need to be able to leverage it in a way that enables you to get your job done in a more efficient manner, and then but putting agentic for you have to have a framework around agentic AI to be able to understand that you have got the human in the loop, you've got the guardrails and the capabilities in there, and that you're leveraging it appropriately. You can't just roll it out and let it have its day. There were, agentic capabilities from like claw bots, and everybody was like installing it into their own little MacBooks. And next thing you know, it buys courseware online because it calculated that the ROI was great. And then next thing you know, it's booking travel for you and certain things. So it could go awry, or it creates its own religion, or it creates its own Facebook and all that kind of stuff. We've seen that like 6 months ago. So you got to be careful when you roll this out into an enterprise, and it's got to be in a way that adds value to an organization and to its operations and to its operators, right? So.
Denny, you and I, we agree 100%, right? We would never use AI the way people are just using it, the way they just plug and play, right? This is no plug and play, and I just feel that there's this gap in education of understanding that it's fire. Yeah, we can cook with fire, but fire can burn as well, right? And actually, fire can burn your house down and burn your building down. So a little fire can get to be a big fire, and it can be a problem. I use this analogy in that it is fire, and you can use it for whatever you need to use it for. But the reality is, I'm not so sure as a news organization, when I speak to tons of people, if their organizations are actually using it in the proper way or the smartest way possible, it just seems as a bit of a mix between the sane people trying to tell them, whoa, and the Wild West going, let's go, giddy up, right? And they're a bit clashing. It's almost like the conversation in the C-suite room, right? Hey, we got to produce an opportunity for us to leverage AI to get ahead of the competition. And then the other folks going, yeah, but we're opening ourselves to more risks, et cetera, et cetera. Have we figured out how to gel that conversation yet so companies can move forward? Are you seeing them getting together on a common risk assessment platform that says, look, before we do this, we have to do that? Or is it a little bit of a mix? Or what's your thoughts on how companies are dealing with this quote unquote wild west of AI?
First and foremost,
Big
just
question,
rolling
but
it out is a bad idea. Obviously, you want to be able to understand its capabilities and its limitations and its concerns before you roll it out and let it run rampant, right? So being able to have like an agentic framework that you can wrap around it so that it's got its proper guardrails, it stays within guardrails, it's got human interaction into it is important, especially in mission critical operations. Yeah, getting down to the fundamentals and the basics and putting that into play is the most important before introducing additional risk to an organization. So
it's definitely the same conversation, right? And I get it completely. I just wonder, what it looks like on the front lines. Like how many people are doing this? Because we have companies whose job is to go in there and do a kind of a discovery. Like how many people are using AI and like what are you using? And then it comes back with a report that goes, really? Is that what you think it is? And I'm just flabbergasted that even companies with strict governance and policies and so on actually are discovering so much shadow AI, so much shadow IT. Don't let's even get into that, but generally, it just seems to me, even with the best intentions, humans are still going to have that bit of a challenge. I just want to, what are your CISOs? Are your organizations, these companies, got it right? Are they seeing that there is no shadow IT left in the
yeah.
company? No, right. So what else needs to be done beyond like, I don't know, going there with a cattle prod to people and doing stuff? How do we get around this, man?
People, process, and products, right?
Technology, yeah.
All these technologies. So it's a three-prong aspect of things, and from a people perspective, is understanding the risks of AI and introducing shadow AI or even shadow IT, or realizing that when realizing what you need to do from a policy perspective. But then there's processes to be able to look at it at your enterprise environment to see if there's anything that's popping up that shouldn't be popping up and rectifying it accordingly, or putting in compensating controls or controls of some measure to be able to safeguard our organizations. And then some products are out there. There's newer ones popping up every single day that there's no silver bullet. If anybody tells you there's a silver bullet, you put in this product and everything will go away. They're
Good
full
luck.
of it, right? So it really is around making an appropriate decision based on, functional, non-functional requirements. What should we put into place, and does it meet the requirement of reducing shadow AI or shadow IT, I guess is the way I'd approach it. But yeah.
So Denny, I mean, I wish if everybody listening to this and every company that's attached to every company listening to this listens to your voice and actually just do exactly what you say. Because obviously that's the path forward. I would say it's the only path forward, where you can actually end up sleeping, at night, relaxing, trying to remember that you're going to be okay. But if you go down a different path, I don't know how they're gonna navigate, moving forward. So that's the framework, right? So maybe just share a few things that you're seeing in the front lines that maybe we're not getting right yet, that we should get right at the very least? I mean, the basics, of course, but are we still not getting people trained properly? Is identity still not working properly? Are we still, what are we still doing that could actually significantly drop a little bit of the challenges that we're faced with?
From a risk calculus perspective, is
Yeah,
reevaluating
reducing
what we
risk.
have in play. So once we get over the patching aspect and streamlining what that looks like and how to attack that program in a more efficient and automated and way, the next aspect of things is looking at our hardening capabilities and getting, the basic stuff, multi-factor authentication and segmentation capabilities. The more friction that you can create, the better is the whole defense in depth strategy of tools and processes that organizations can put into play. Does everybody have it right? No. You got a finite number of resources and a finite number of capabilities, and you need to make decisions according to what makes the most sense for you at this time. And then being frontier AI ready is a question of, okay, what can we put into place that can enhance the friction that we have within our environments and elevate us so that we don't fall below the cyber poverty line that we were above before.
Yeah.
And those that are below, can they make a step change difference in their cyber programs in order to and resilience programs in order to not only detect, respond, and recover, but also just learn from that and cycle it back, right?
And I just so love that poverty line, man. It's like it's how you should really think about cybersecurity. Are you below it? Are you above it? Why? Why not? And what it takes to stay above, that line. And that line, I would assume that line is a bit shifting a bit now, because those that maybe was above the poverty line, things like Mythos and stuff has shifted the poverty line a bit higher. So now you've got to figure out how you have to gear it up, right? Because then now you've fallen below the poverty line. So it's a great way of thinking about it. Denny, what are some of the other things that you would like to talk about and share with the audience about, what your CISOs are telling you, what your organization is doing? How are you guys, preparing? What are you making your clients do? What are you hearing on the street? What's going on?
So it's creating like a cross-functional tiger teams or war rooms in order to make sure that they're aligning from a communications perspective. There's the whole aspect of open source risk, and that's going to be the hardest gap to fill. The whole aspect about leveraging AI to help and automate and scale. Where do they implement that, and where do they look at that? So it really is there's a multitude of areas that they're focusing in on. But it's looking at frameworks from, their own IT governance, their own cybersecurity governance, looking at what they're doing from embedding AI into their own capabilities, which ones make sense where and how. It's looking at their development cycles and how they're leveraging that and implementing that. And then there's the whole aspect of organizational change management, like developing the internal and customer communication and organizational readiness strategies in order to respond and implement this within big organizations, right? So I hope that helps. It's looking at what framework are we leveraging to be able to respond to the new realities.
Yeah. And Denis, I think even the frameworks, right, are going to be tweaked, right? Because yeah, it's got some core stuff there, but there are some things that may actually change,
Yeah.
that they need to improve that. I mean, that framework, I hate to think that a framework is permanent. It's a kind of a moving target, right? It's like governance. Governance is also not permanent. You've got to be looking to see what's going on today, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and most frameworks they evolve over time. Just an example, like PCI compliance, it started at like 1.0 and then 2.0, 3.0, 3.x, 3.4 and 4.x. It changes over time. NIST 1.0, NIST 2.0. It's evolving the frameworks to be frontier AI enabled or ready. Are we getting there? We're in that little, gap, or where we're going to be catching up, and fundamentally, it's the baselines, or the I guess the fundamentals of it all stay the same. It's just you make step change improvements to those frameworks.
All right. Well, you get the last word there, my friend. What's any latest news from Kyndryl? Like, what are you guys doing? Building spaceships? Like, what's next?
No, we're still working diligently on making sure our customers continue delivering on their mission critical operations, right? So we're actively working towards making sure that our customers that need to be always on, that they're always on, and fundamentally continuing to do that. The agentic frameworks that we're bringing to bear, the agentic trust, digital trust for agentic frameworks is something that we're rolling out quite a fair bit. We're leveraging our own agents internally to improve our own operations. But yeah, there's a lot going on. What are we developing is just continuing to become a mission critical AI company, right? So, and moving towards what that fundamentally looks like to help our customers succeed.
Hey, Denis, I could see companies that are your clients smiling, going, "Hey, it's great that we have Kyndryl at the helm there to make sure we navigate the storm." Because, man, I would hate to know that you don't have an organization that's kind of steering you through the storm, because it's going to get wet, and you got to figure out how to navigate this. And if we stay calm, as you said, we move forward, get the basics done, understand that things are changing faster than we'd love it to change, right? But it is going to change. And if we get ahead of that, maybe we can prevent. And eventually, maybe the best case scenario, this AI thing actually helps us to protect and harden better against the bad actors in the future. So, as they say, to be continued, right?
100%. The only thing certain in life is death and taxes, and I guess change. I guess we could add that to.
There you go. That taxes an AI now, man. All right. Apparently, Denis, if you create your digital twin, you can live forever because
Matt, I'm actually excited about digital twin technology, especially in the healthcare space, right?
100%.
Everybody's body is different, so being able to figure out how to, do tests on your own genome and figuring out what medication works and what doesn't work, and you can apply the same concept to IT and being able to create a digital twin, and before rolling out certain patches or whatever it may be, seeing what might break and what might not, and what ultimately getting the answers before the test type of thing. So,
Yeah,
um,
I can't wait, man. I could see the future there. Denis a robot, right? Full with all the information downloaded to this robot, and then you don't have to do anything, man. Just have Denis go out and fetch your food.
yeah, we'll see. Very future.
Take care, buddy. Denis, always a pleasure, man. Always great to see what you guys are doing and keeping us ahead of the curve here, brother. Take care. Cheers.
Take care, Julian. Ciao.